Good evening, guys. How are you doing? Good evening, good evening. Happy New Year. I've started back reading Bedtime Stories of the Principal. So tonight, what book I'm going to read is Happy Birthday, Martin Luther King. And the reason why I'm reading this book is because we are out of school on Monday and it is Martin Luther King's Day, and tomorrow is actually his birthday. So I'm going to read Martin Luther King for you. This is a kindergarten through fourth grade book. So all of our kindergartens, first grade, second, third, fourth, possibly fifth and sixth, you guys can take a test on this tomorrow. So we're going to read Happy Birthday, Martin. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929 in Atlanta, Georgia. His parents loved him so much. Martin Luther King had the same name as his father, except for one thing. His father was called Martin Luther King Sr. Martin was called Martin Luther King Jr. So seniors for the older one and juniors for the young one. Martin went to elementary school, high school, and college in Atlanta. He was a good student. Later, he went to divinity school in Pennsylvania. Does anyone know what divinity means? We'll figure it out. Let's see, what does divinity mean? Martin became a pastor, just like his dad, at Ebenezer Baptist Church in Atlanta. They were both called Reverend, the Reverend Martin Luther King Sr. and the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. So divinity is where he went to Bible college to learn how to be a pastor. Martin's job as a minister was to help people in need. He visited sick people in the hospital and made them feel better. You know, it's like when we're in the hospital, sometimes we want people to visit us. He asked people not to fight with each other. He said there were peaceful ways to solve a problem. You know, sometimes when we fight, it's a better way to do it. And like his father, Martin led people in prayer and songs. The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. is famous because he helped our country change some of its laws. A law is like a rule. Once there was a law in some places that said only white people could sit in the front of a bus, and black people, they had to sit at the back of the bus. Martin Luther King said the law needed to be changed. I'm trying to get my book right. Rosa Parks and other help him changing it. Now all people can sit in any seat they like. So now we get to sit anywhere we want to on the bus. We don't have to sit in the back anymore. Once there was a law in some place that says African Americans could only use certain restaurants and drinking fountains. Martin Luther King and many other people helped change these laws. Now all people can share the same restaurants and drink from the same fountains. So you see, this is how it used to be. And now we can all drink out of the same water fountains and eat at the same restaurants. Once there was a law in some place that said that black children and white children couldn't go to school together. Martin Luther King and other people, include many very brave children, had this law changed too. Now black children and white children, they can go to school together. And that's like today, we can all go to school together, we can all play together. Martin Luther King had a special talent for leadership. When he spoke, people listened. Poor people, rich people, white people, black people, and people from all the world listened when Martin Luther King spoke. Many helped him work, march, sing, and pray for justice. In the summer of 1963, Martin Luther King Jr. gave the most famous speech of his life. He gave it outdoors to a quarter of a million people who had come to Washington, D.C. to ask the president for jobs and freedom for Black people. In his speech, Martin Luther King said that he had a dream. His dream was that people everywhere would learn to live together without being mean to one another. That was a good dream. Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and killed in 1968. Because he loved poor people so much, he was given a special funeral in Atlanta, Georgia, where he was born. His body was put in a simple farm cart and pulled slowly by two mules to a cemetery. Thousands of people walked behind Martin in a sad, loving parade. On his gravestone were carved these beautiful words: free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, I am free at last. And this is what his tombstone looks like. Martin Luther King wanted people to be able to go places together, share food together, and love one another in peace. Because he worked so hard for freedom and helped so many people gain it. We honor him every year on this special day. We call this day Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And we say to him, Happy birthday, Martin Luther King. The end. So this talks about all the special work that Martin Luther King did. So I hope you guys enjoyed this book and I hope you guys take a test. Have a great day and I will see you in the morning. That was good. Yeah, that was